All right, I'm going to show you how to put copper foil along the edge of glass. But first, just to make sure that your edges, your pieces have straight edges. So, for example, you know, this edge doesn't look that straight. So what I like to do is compare it to something straight, like the edge of a piece of wood or the edge of the table. But if I lay it on the wood here, I can see that there's a gap in the middle. This is just a piece of mat board I cut off the paper cutter. I'm just going to tape it down and use that as my sample. So if I lay this down here, I can see that there's a gap in between there. That tells me that I need to go and take a little bit off here and a little bit off here to get that straight. If I put this one on here, I can see that it rocks a little bit, which means I got to take a little bit out of the middle. So all of these, you know, if I take the straight piece and lay it against here, I can see there's a little gap right there and there's a little gap right there, which means I need to take a little bit more out of the middle so that's straight. Okay, so let's just say that all your pieces are straight. They all fit on your design here and they're all ready to go. So I've got this piece here, okay? I've got this piece, and then I got this piece, and they all fit really nicely, and they're the sizes they should be. Now, once again, just a quick review. If this is my piece right here, and this is my piece, and when I look at these, I can see, boy, they got a ways to go here, okay? So this piece here is really, I got a nice curve, but this one's not so good. So what I do is make sure that I shave this one off so it's parallel to this edge to get them to match up more like this one does. This one matches up pretty well, okay? So now we're going to be putting copper foil on these pieces right now, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what copper foil is, it's a thin little piece of copper tape. It looks like this. Now it's like a sticker. So at the end of it, you're going to see that you need to take, usually I use an X-Acto knife, and I can separate the end like this. And you can see I've got is a sticker like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to put copper foil over the edges of my project. So what I'm going to do is, now when I say edges, all of the sides that are touching each other. So if this is my project, I'm going to put copper foil on this piece right here and right there, because that's touching that piece and it's touching this. On this piece, I'm going to put copper foil here and here. And on the last piece, I'm just going to put a piece of copper foil there, okay? Now, different projects may require more copper foil. So for example, let's say that my design was this, where I'm going to have a piece like this. So in this case, I'd put copper foil all the way around this piece and all the way around every piece on here. So every one of these pieces is going to have copper foils on all sides of the piece, okay? Sort of like this project right here. This has been soldered, but there's copper foil that's actually around every piece, and every piece was fit in there. Now, if you had a piece that was like this, grab it, more like this one, where it's oval, what I would probably do is copper foil every piece on the inside, but I'd leave the outside open. And the reason I'd leave the outside open is I'd take this whole thing after it's soldered and I would grind a really nice perfect oval all the way around here, and then I'd lay copper foil all the way around the outside at one swoop rather than every piece, okay? So for this, a rounded one like this, I'd want to do that. For this one, I wouldn't want to do that because all the pieces are a little bit different, okay? Then I have some pieces that we put into a frame like this. If yours, so this is a metal frame, it's like a little rail that fits around the glass. If that's the case, these pieces that are underneath the glass, there is no copper foil on the outside edge that's going underneath this frame. Do you understand? Okay? So for demonstration purposes, on this one that we're working on right now, we're only going to put copper foil on the edges that are touching each other, because this is just a sample. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my pieces, and once again, so this piece needs foil on this edge and this edge, okay? So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting a piece of copper foil so it comes out of here. Always leave a little bit hang out of this, that way it doesn't go back into this. So what I'm going to do here is I need a piece of copper foil that's going to go on this edge. It's going to bend the corner and go to here, So I need a piece that's that long. So what I'm gonna do is just cut with my scissors right there, this piece, okay? Now, I'm gonna be putting this copper foil over the edge of my glass. I'm gonna peel it off and it's gonna go over the edge of the glass like this. And then I'm gonna push it down around the edge, okay? Now it's important that when you push it down around the edge that it's even on both sides. So here as just a sample, what I did is I took a piece of duct tape and I put it over the top. Let's pretend this is the edge of the glass. I need to straddle it evenly. You know what straddle means? Straddle is like when you sit on a horse. If you sit on a horse, one leg is on one side and one is on the other, so you're straddling the horse. So right here, we're straddling this piece of wood. The only problem is on this side, there's only a little bit of tape straddling it, and on this side, there's a great big amount of tape straddling it. So I don't want you to do this. It has to straddle it evenly. So when you take your copper foil, let's just pretend this is the glass. I want to lay it on the edge so I have just about an equal amount of tape on either side. And you can see this one here. So right now I've got this much here and this much here, which is pretty equal. So what you'll be doing on the copper foil, you're gonna take a stick like this and you're gonna push it down, and then you're gonna turn the corner like this, and then really push it down tight like that with your stick. Now, I don't really need to do that for this because it's just a sample, but I'm gonna be doing it like this. Now you can see I have an equal amount on both sides, as opposed to this one, I have a lot on one side and very little on the other side, okay? So I've got to make sure I do that properly. Now, before you do this, this is super, super, super important. You got to clean this off. Use some of this blue window cleaner, which is on the end of each table, and spray your glass, and take some paper towel and really wipe it down clean, because if your glass isn't clean, the sticker is not going to stick very well to it, and your copper is it's going to fall apart later. So it's just like when people put a bumper sticker on their car, it usually says in the instructions, clean your bumper really well before you put the sticker down. You don't want to put a bumper sticker on a car that's full of dirt, because the sticker won't stick very well, okay? So I'm ready to put my copper foil on here. It's a little bit tricky peeling the copper foil apart, so I like to use an X-Acto knife to do that and kind of get it in between here, and you can start to get that open, okay? Now I'm gonna start to peel that open, and I'm gonna put copper foil. Remember, it was along this edge and this edge. So I'm gonna start right here and just touch it on the edge a little bit. And I'm gonna really be conscious that I'm straddling it evenly. So I go like this, peel that off, straddle this evenly. Now, before you push it down, check it by looking at it this way and looking at it this way. It's a little hard to see on my camera here because this is so small, okay? But mine looks pretty good right now, and if it's not good, just pull it up a little bit and put it back down, okay? Now, once it's in place, that looks not too bad. I'm gonna take this popsicle stick here, and I'm just gonna really push that down tight over the top of it like this, push it down. And the reason you use the stick is you can push it down much harder with the stick than you can with your fingers, and you won't cut your fingers either. So I'm gonna push that tape down. I'm gonna push it down here. And I'm gonna do it on this side, push it down here, and then use that stick to really push that copper foil down really tight. Okay, now on mine, not too bad, but this spot right here, there's very little copper foil holding on this side, and there's quite a bit overlapping here. So I might want to peel that up and do that again. But for demonstration purposes, I don't want to make you sit here any longer. So that's how you put your copper foil down. So once again, when I'm done here, I'm going to have copper foil on those two sides, on this side and this side, here and here, there, and then this piece, and then I'll have another demonstration to show you how to solder these pieces together. Okay.